The drama queen of the con looks to play his final trick. Now will he or won't he? Now this is the question that's surrounding Donald Trump and whether he will run for um and whether he will run for squatter again in 2024 is the question that's now hovering over America. Now Trump now sorry about that. Um um Now Trump loves it this way, of course. The Washington Post reports that Trump is now eyeing he's now eyeing an announcement possibly in September, according to two advisors. Now, one Trump nutlicker puts the odds at 70-30 that he announces that he's running before the midterms, and others are saying he may announce it sooner than September. Now Trump begun talking with advisors about who should run a campaign, and his team has instructed others to an online apparatus ready for a campaign should he announce soon. And two people familiar with the matter said he also has begun meeting with top donors to talk about a possible 2024 race. One of these people said, "Well, on trips to various places across the country." A little piece from the New York Magazine. Olivia Nuzzi had reported on her recent conversations with Trump about his imminent decision. Even though when Trump talks, you can never he's so off track about what he talks about that nobody fucking understands what he says anyway. Basically, he says, "In my own mind, I've already made that decision, so nothing factors in anymore." In my own mind, I've already made the decision. Yeah, you sound like a fucking broken record. He wouldn't disclose what he decided, not at first, but then he couldn't help himself. He says, I would say my big decision will be whether I go before or after, he said. You understand what that means? No, we fucking don't. His tone was conspiratorial. Was he referring to the midterm elections? He repeated. Suddenly he relaxed as though speaking the word, and somehow it set it free for discussion. Do I go before or after? That would be the biggest decision. Whether you love him or hate him, but more than likely a lot of people hate his guts. Trump's announcement will again change America's political landscape, and no one should have that much power, but somehow he still does because people won't stand up to him. Donald Trump is a master con, a carny, a professional wrestling heel. He is a gifted storyteller who understands the power of a surprise in the cliffhanger. But he's also a con artist and grifter who has defrauded his sycophantic inbreds out of at least $250 million, if not more, with his big lie that the 2020 presidential election was stolen from him, when in reality it was not. In reality, Donald Trump has utter contempt for his sycophants. As the old saying goes, I wouldn't piss on fire to put you out. Trump has shown himself to be a malignant narcissist and a sociopath who sees other people only as a means to an end, and nonetheless he needs his political sycophantic inbred cultists to fill his greed and narcissism with money and attention. Donald Trump is a criminal mastermind. As squatter, he attempted to overthrow American democracy on January 6th, and he incited a Klan terrorist attack on the Capitol with the goal of establishing himself as a tyrant. Now, despite all this, he has a good chance of being squatter of the United States for a second time, and too many Democrats and others outside of Trump world are eager to mock Donald Trump and his sycophantic inbred followers. But when and if Donald Trump formally announces another squatterole campaign, such voices will predictably respond with disdain and disbelief. They will ask the question, how can anyone still support Trump after January 6th? He's a fucking criminal. Repugs and Trump sycophantic inbreds, of course, have no problem with Donald Trump's coup attempt and the big lie. They believe that Trump, his Confederates, and the followers who instigated the Klan attack on the Capitol are fake patriots who are defending democracy when they weren't. While Democrats protested, they cannot imagine what kind of person would ever vote for him again. And the repugs believe that the squatter Trump did great things, which he didn't, and that the Democrats are evil. And in reality, the Republicans are evil, and so is Donald Trump. Public opinion polls and other research show that Republican voters may not approve of Trump's style and manner, but to see him as a fighter for people like them when Trump's fighting for himself and nobody else. Democrats, of course, will tediously insist that Trump and his sycophants are stupid, which they are, especially if they vote for him again. Now, here's a reality check. Donald Trump's sycophantic inbreds don't care about the approval of those outside their tribe. The more that Democrats other people mock and belittle them, the more spirited and empowered they become. This dynamic causes a type of narcissistic injury to many members of the mainstream media. The commentariat and the professional smart people, with their obsessive commitment to balance and bipartisanship and supposedly shared American values, defensive contempt, schadenfreude, and name-calling is all they have left. That would not be enough to stop Trumpism and the rising fascist tide that he promotes. Now, Donald Trump is the drama queen of the con. He knows how to work the marks. He makes them feel like part of a community, something larger than themselves. He makes them feel special and seen and acknowledged. But Trumpism feeds on their loneliness, social atomization, and despair caused by a toxic combination of future shock, death anxiety, radicalized religion, anti-intellectualism, bigotry, and hatred. In a series of recent fundraising emails, Donald Trump and his confederates have been offering the faithful exclusive new T-shirts, Super Maggot hats, signed pictures and promises of secret messages for a special favorite and most trusted sycophant at inbreds. Some of the T-shirts depict Trump as a superhero, which he's not. Now, continuing with his pattern of terrorism, Trump signals that he wants to build his own paramilitary force, and here is one recent recruitment email that was sent out by his campaign. He basically called the Democrats radical when it's in reality the Republicans are the ones that are radical. Our nation is suffering. Yeah, Trump, we're suffering because of what you caused. Our economy's in the gutter, also because of you. Inflation is rampant, also because of you. Gas prices have reached an all-time high. Yeah, because the presidents don't control that. Ships are unable to unload cargo. Yeah, because of your shitty trade deal. Families cannot get baby formula. And yeah, ask the Republicans why we cannot get baby formula. They rejected a bill that would have helped us get that. We are an embarrassment around the world. Yeah, because of you. In another email, the group is called the 2022 American Defense Task Force. Trump warns the Democrats won't stop until America's unrecognizable. That's exactly what you did. You basically made America unrecognizable in your 4 years of destruction. At this very moment, Joe Biden. This is an email that Trump sent out. At this very moment, Joe Biden and the Democrats are wreaking havoc on our nation at record speed. No, Trump, that's what you did. Inflation is through the roof. Presidents don't control inflation, and they don't control gas prices. Our border has been demolished. No, it has not. Cold-blooded criminals are taking over Democratic-run cities. No, they're not. When we're talking about cold-blooded criminals, they mostly reside in the Republican-led states. As the January 6 hearings have further confirmed with ever more damning details, Trump has evidently committed a number of serious crimes. Now, Donald Trump is a master criminal and drama queen of the con. He understands that running for squatter again may give him protection from prosecution. Rolling Stone reports that when Donald Trump formally declares his 2024 squatting candidacy, he won't be just running for another term in the White House. He'll be running away from legal troubles, possible criminal charges, and even the specter of a prison term. In recent months, Trump has made it clear to associates that the legal protection of occupying the Oval Office are front of mind for him. The four people with knowledge of the situation tells Rolling Stone. Trump has spoken about how when you are the squatter of the United States, it is tough for politically motivated prosecutors to get to you, says one of the sources. He has discussed the issue with Trump this summer. He says that when, if not, if he is squatter again, a new Republican administration will put a stop to the Justice Department investigation that he views as the Biden administration working to hit him with criminal charges. Trump, they don't need to hit you with criminal charges because you committed crimes. Now, Trump has reason to believe this ploy will work. Reportedly, Attorney General Merrick Garland is following the dictate of his predecessor, Bill Barr, that any investigation of a squatter candidate requires his personal approval, which suggests that in practice there will be no such investigation during an election year. Now on Twitter, which I no longer use, legal scholar and just security editor Asha Rangappa summarizes the dangers of Garland's apparent reasoning. Garland is trying to be as neutral as possible. The analogy is this: if you take the wheel of a misaligned minivan and just hold the wheel steady where it is, you might still be headed towards a cliff. You need to get the vehicle back on the fucking road first and then keep it steady. Now, Donald Trump's mental pathologies are likely becoming worse as the threat to prosecution and other negative consequences for his crimes loom over him. Now, his niece, Mary Trump, who's a clinical psychologist, has warned that these pressures have created an especially dangerous moment. Donald Trump is likely engaging in witness tampering and other acts of intimidation to protect himself from the January 6th House Committee and the law. In a recent interview with journalist Molly Jong Fass on the New Abnormal podcast, Mary Trump said this said this about her uncle: to reach out directly to the witness. It suggests to me two things. He's terrified and desperate, and he's completely overestimating his power to manipulate people, and we know that ship has sailed. But in a conversation with author and radio host Tom Harmon last week, Mary Trump amplified that warning. Trump is going to turn on everybody, she said. As we've seen, his circle is getting smaller and smaller by the controversy, so I think there will be very few people left standing. He's done terrible things for his entire life, and not once has he been held accountable, so there is no precedent for this. But what of the professional political class? How are they responding to Donald Trump's likely announcement? Republican elites are concerned that Trump is a disruptive presence who will blunt their momentum in the war that they're currently winning, that they think are currently winning, to return America's society almost all the way back to the 19th century by taking away the rights of women, the non-white people, the LGBTQ people, and other marginalized groups. They may be trying to stop Trump for the moment, but in the end, today's Repug Party is a political religion. If Trump runs again in 2024, they will ultimately clan rally around him and silence any dissenting voices. Now, Political Report had put this out. Democratic leaders and their consultants are eager for a rematch with Trump. No, we're not. Now, Democrats aren't just eager for Donald Trump to cannonball into the 2024 squadral race before the fall midterms. Across the country, they are actively plotting ways to immediately capitalize on a pre-November announcement. Campaigns and officials at major Democratic outfits are planning to capture the anticipated cash windfall that would come their way should Trump announce he's making another run at the White House. The candidates also are exploring ways to exploit Trump's premature entry into energized despondent base voters, and they're trying to coalesce independents and suburb dwellers who have soured on the party over the stubbornly high inflation. Democratic campaigns are pre-drafting fundraising pitches that center on the danger Trump's return represents, and they're using him to target suburban voters who are considering lashing out at Biden over the economy, but worry of emboldening GOP election lies and conspiracies. It's bad for them because he takes so much oxygen out of the room. Said John Anzalone, who's a longtime Biden pollster. Already, the dynamic for fall campaigns has been reshaped for the Supreme Court's overturning of Roe v. Wade and the January 6th committee hearings into the Klan insurrection. So come on in, Anzalone prodded, jump in the poll. Now, given that the core element of Hillary Clinton's 2016 campaign was to elevate Trump as the preferred opponent because he was seen as unelectable, repeating such a strategy seems unwise. Donald Trump is the greatest political show in recent American history. The question is whether the American people, the news media, and other gatekeepers want to see the show again, which we don't. If the answer is fucking yes, this show will be one where the villain reclaims his throne in an savage act of vengeance on his enemies. Sick societies produce sick leaders. Sick people are attracted to those movements. America has yet to confront the cultural sickness that vomited out Trumpism. There are far too many Americans who are desperately eager for a second Trump regime, which I'm not. When and if Donald Trump publicly announces that he is running for squatter again in 2024, the reaction will be a national character test and an important indicator of how imperiled America's future really is and where it's heading. So if you like the video, give the video a like and subscribe to my channel, RBW King. You can also hit the notification bell so you'll be notified when a new video comes out. If you want to support my work even further, you can donate to my Patreon link, which you can find in the About section of YouTube. And for just as little as a few bucks a month, your donation can help go a long way, and thanks for listening.